Hello and welcome back. Thank you for joining me today. I'm Douglas and this is the Highland Hikers. So today you are joining me on day one of a 3-day trip up to the Highlands to do some Munro bagging. No Alistair today, unfortunately. He couldn't get the Thursday off of work, but he will be joining us for Friday and Saturday's walks. So right now I'm just outside Dalmally and the plan is to do Ben Coccio and Ben Iannick, which are a couple of Munros. It's about a 13.5 kilometre circuit with 1221 metres of ascent and should take somewhere in the region of 5.5 to 6.5 hours. So fairly reasonable walk, not the longest but not the shortest walk either. So we've got a nice track to start with. There's like a Land Rover access track that heads up a good chunk of the route and then we head up to a more steeper section. So yeah, going to continue on with the walk and see how we get on as we get a bit higher up. It's disappointing Alistair isn't here right now. He's pretty terrified of Highland cows, so he would not be liking this section right now. Maybe there'll be some on the next couple of walks. We need to wait and see. So you can see a small cairn just behind me here. Depending on what way around you're doing the route, this could be the point where you leave this track or the point where you're rejoining at the end of the walk. So we're doing Ben Coccio first, so we're not heading off the track here. We'll be doing Ben Iannick second, which means we have this is our descent route back down from Ben Iannick. It's a particularly steep path. I don't know if you can quite get a sense of that from the video just now, but having done this before back in 2009, I remember that being a very steep descent, so I'm sure when we get round to it I can show you a bit more of that. We're about an hour into the walk now and we've just reached the point where you leave the main Land Rover track and head up the steeper ascent up to the first Munro. It's actually quite late in the day. We didn't start until about 12:30 because we were picking up a friend from the airport and we then had to drive north obviously. So yeah, it's actually lunchtime right now, so we're stopping for a wee bit of lunch before we continue on with the rest of the walk at a height of about 400 metres just now. So still got a good bit of ascent to go to get up to the top of Ben Coccio. After you leave the Land Rover track, you've got a pretty relentlessly steep climb up the side of the Munro till you get towards the summit plateau really, which is what we're on now. So it's flattened out a bit and it's a much more pleasant walk at this point as we head along to the summit of the first Munro. Probably got about 750 metres along here before we reach the summit. So yeah, it's quite pleasant now. We've got some really nice views out across to Ben Cruachan, Etive, which we'll be doing in a couple of days' time. Well, that's me at the summit of Ben Coccio now at a height of 980 metres. That was fairly good going getting up here. As I say, we had that tough climb just after we left the Land Rover track, but then it was a fairly gentle actual climb up to the summit itself. Certainly cooled down a bit since we've got up here. There's a bit of a cold wind and I can feel wee spots of rain coming on just now actually. There's certainly not dark clouds about, but we've got some great views. Certainly not in the cloud just now, which is good. Got some fantastic views out towards Cruachan behind us. looking very pointy off in a distance, so hopefully we'll get good conditions for that when we do it on Saturday. But what we're going to do now is head off back the way we came up, but we will continue on and head round to Ben Iannick for our second Munro of the day. Oh, I meant to say, still staying on 200 Munros. I think I mentioned on the way up, I've done these two before, back in 2009, so 12 years ago now. But my friends, Alistair's not here. He's coming tomorrow. But we do have James with us, who's come up from London to join us on a walk. It's been quite a while since he's been up on a walk with us, and Craig off in the background over there. So those two haven't done these two Munros before, so that'll add on to their tally, which is good. But yeah, my count remains at 200 for now at least. We've just reached the Bealach between the two Munros now, so we've completed the descent down from Ben Coccio and we're about to start the climb up to Ben Iannick. It actually looks fairly steep from here, although I think it's a fairly good path all the way up, so whilst it's going to be steep going, I think it shouldn't be too bad getting up, and it's not too much hiking we've got left to do either, to be honest. Well, that's me at the summit of Ben Iannick now, the second Munro of the day, and of course my Munro count stays on 200, but it's been a really nice day out for a walk. Still got stunning views from the top here. We can see back across towards Ben Coccio, which was the first Munro of the day, and then, you know, still great views out to Cruachan, and even looking to the far north actually, we can see Nevis just now, which is pretty cool because it's a very clear day. When we were out, I think it was 3 weeks ago for Ben Iannick, it was very hazy, but today it's much clearer and you can see really far into the distance. So it's been nice, and the rain has stayed off. There's been a few drops of rain here and there, but nothing major. So it's been certainly a nice day. So I think we're going to chill for a bit at the summit here and then head back down towards the car for the end of the walk. As you can probably tell, we've reached the really steep descent back down to the Land Rover track. Certainly tricky coming down here. Pole's really helpful for this point, although there's a lot of loose scree, so we need to be really careful to make sure we don't watch our footing or send any rocks tumbling down the hillside. That's us back on the Land Rover track now after finally getting off that really steep descent. That was tough on the knees, so it was. I remember it being a tough descent the last time I did it, but being 12 years older now, my knees maybe aren't quite what they used to be, so it was a wee bit more tricky going, but good to be back on this nice Land Rover path now, which will take us all the way back down to the car. So not too much further to go, maybe 20 minutes, half an hour, something like that. Well, that's us back at the car now, having completed day one's walk, which was the two Munros of Ben Coccio and Ben Iannick. Really enjoyed that walk today. It was some nice weather, wasn't too hot, wasn't too cold, pretty much no wind. It was yeah, really good conditions for walking. And throughout the walk we got fantastic views of the surrounding Munros. We also got some good views out towards Kilchurn Castle, which is just across the main road from where we've parked. That's worth a visit. It's an old historic castle on a sort of wee peninsula of land jutting out into Loch Awe. Definitely worth a visit. But as I say, that is day 1 completed. We still have 2 more days worth of walking to do. So we're going to head to Oban, where we're going to base ourselves for the next couple of nights. And then we've got Ben Coccio tomorrow is the plan, and then Ben Cruachan and Etive to do on Saturday. So join us in 1 week's time, where you can see how we get on with day 2's walk, which will feature Alistair as well. So a wee bonus for everyone.